So, hello there, Trekkies and Trekkers. So, this week I am doing a custom figure. Back in the 70s, Mego, they did do a Mugato figure for the Star Trek line. Right there. And, but the Mugato that they did, he was wearing like a green shirt with, I believe it was red or orange pants, and it fairly much looked like he was supposed to be just some kind of alien of the week who was trying to sell them pots or something. So I am making a Mugato that will actually look like a Mugato from the show. So let me switch to Toy Cam and show you what we've got. So, the head that I have here, and I do apologize, this is very bright because everything is pretty much white. That's why I switched to the bare table so that hopefully the contrast would work okay. The body that I got, it came with this. I got these from Classic TV Toys, I believe it was. And the body was the abominable snowman figure from, I think it's from the Scooby-Doo thing. It didn't come with a head. It was just the body and the fursuit that goes with it. And what I'll be doing is I'm going to be making some spikes and a tail to go on the back of that. And I have already managed to get something dirty on there, so I'm going to set that way over here so that it stays clean. And then from, I believe it was eBay, on eBay is where I found the Mugato head. And it's a sculpt from one of the original 1970s figures. And so I was like, okay, I'll get that. I got that. And it came, the horn was sort of damaged. So I did have to fix the horn, and I went ahead and made it a little bit longer. It's just green stuff. And I have already put primer on here. And I've put primer on the hands and the feet as well, which I know that the feet aren't really correct. But they need to be painted a sort of a flesh tone as well as the face up here around here. All of the hair will get painted white. I'm actually going to do a silver undercoat and then hopefully do a sort of a white dry brush over that. What I've got here to the side, I've got my wet palette. What this is, as you see, it's that's in the way. It's a little Tupperware container. These sponges that are in the bottom, they're just damp enough to keep moisture inside the container while it's in use. And you see I've already got some paint. I've got the white, the silver, and the flesh tone. And so we're going to start off just by getting some paint on this guy. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the areas of the skin see, and this is I kind of noticed after I did the primer that this is a resin cast, obviously. And there are some bubbles. I don't know if I can get the camera to pick it up. You can kind of see one there above the eye and then one there in the tooth. There's some bubbles in the casting. I'm just going to throw this on here where the ear is at, and we'll cover all this up later. With the silver and the white paint. but I might be taking and pausing to put some filler in a couple of these holes. I'm going to need to let that dry for a few minutes, so while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and paint the hands and feet skin toned. And I'm still trying to make a decision on the horn. The horn was not skin toned, but it was kind of a orangey, yellowy color. That sort of matched. Because that was the thing, is that the Mugatos, or Mugato, it's in that episode, go back and watch it sometime. Dr. McCoy is the worst one. He pronounces it like 3 different ways throughout the run of the show. Like, it's the Mugato, and the Mugates, and the Magatus. Apparently, DeForest Kelly was having a tough time with the script that week and couldn't decide how to pronounce the word. But, and see, and the thing is even the feet were sort of that. The hands were very much a flesh color, but the feet were also sort of like that orangey color. More like what the horns and the spikes on his back were. So I might leave them this color. I might go back and put something over them. I haven't entirely decided on that yet. And like I said, I know that the feet should really be more of an ape shape, and they do make Planet of the Apes feet that I could get and put on here. But for one, I'm fine with these feet that came with this. They kind of work, to be completely honest, and so I don't mind that. So yeah, I'm going to pause for a moment and gonna get some filler. Okay, I'm back, and I got those holes filled in, so that won't bug me nearly as much. Next thing I'm going to do is I am going to brush silver onto all these areas that have hair. Now, the reason I am doing this is so that when I come back through with the white, it will help to make the white part really stand out and really reflect light the way that white hair is supposed to. It's if you don't have white hair, you won't know what I'm really talking about, but white hair is actually quite beautiful when it's reflecting the light. So that's kind of what I am going for here, is I want to make sure it looks like it's supposed to. Okay, now then, get my brush clean it back up. And think I want to touch up these areas where I okay. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and try and get the whites of the eyes. Which I tend to just overbrush. And then I can come back in a few minutes and clean that up. Trying to clean up this hairline as well. And I will also take, let me go ahead and get these teeth. And here in a few minutes I will do a wash with definitely a sort of a brown wash for sure on the face and the teeth. And yeah, so probably gonna do a little bit more painting on the hands and feet and pick a color for the horn, and I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so sorry, I got to experimenting on the horn, trying to decide on what I wanted to do there, and got distracted. I ended up going over it with a coat of a bright yellow, almost like the color of my shirt. Did not like that at all. And so then I got some flat brown and went over that, and that's much, much better. So, yeah. Now I'm going to take, and I've got this brown wash that I'm going to take and just kind of go all over the face. Catch the ears. Oh, this will be good to really get the fingernails. You know, I think that this wash will actually kind of fix what I was contemplating with the feet as well. Yeah. Yeah, that'll help get some of those details to pop. Gives the Mugato a sort of grimy look. And I know some of it's bleeding off into the silver. That's okay. But that is really helping with those lines. And it's accentuating the teeth. Okay. And I think I'm going to use that same brown. I am trying to decide. Here we go. I think we're going to do this for the eyes. All right. How did I do, guys? How did I do? It does look a little stark, doesn't it? Let me... Oh, that helped. Yeah. So I'm just kind of pulling at that paint just enough. Okay, I'm really liking the way that the face is going, but now I need to stop and let that all dry. Even the hands are looking really good now. And when we come back, we will do the dry brush on the hair. Okay, so while I stepped away, I did go ahead and I put clear coat on the hands and feet. And so now I'm going to try and do some dry brushing of the hair, which is going to be interesting, trying to get around these ears and cutting it in real close. Which I realize it's probably not going to match up with the fur of the suit real well, because that's a made costume. But it's okay. It'll... Oh, it's funny, I just noticed you can see some of the castings original copyright information back here on the back. Because back in the 70s they printed it there on the lower part of the neck. And one thing, by the way, this is actually a makeup brush. If you like to do dry brushing, but you don't have you've always struggled with it, get a makeup brush. These things are fantastic for dry brushing. Let me get down in there. Alright. I am thrilled with how that is looking. So what's left is the back spikes and the tail, which the way I have started that, let me set this to the side. Don't need that up here anymore. What I did was I made a whole bunch of clay little spikes of various sizes, and I cast them in this stuff. Silicone. In silicone rubber. I went blank on what it's called. You see that there's 5 different sizes there. I have one more that's a bigger one over here. It's a nice big spike. I'm going to pour up some resin into those, probably make about 10, 11, 12 spikes. I'll then paint them to match the horn, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how I'll have to show you the tail as well eventually. Trying to decide exactly how I'm going to put them in. I've debated. One thing I've done before is you take the item you want, you drill a tiny hole, and then you get a thumbtack, and you go through the cloth, and then you can super glue the spike onto the thumbtack. So that might be the route that I'm going. But that's going to be it for this half of the video. I'm going to pause, and you will rejoin me probably tomorrow after I have gotten the resin hardened on those horns, and I might go ahead and paint them off screen. So, yeah. Be right back. So, welcome back. I've done a little bit since, it's been about 2 days since I last saw you. I did get the spikes for the back made, painted, and glued on, and I ended up deciding to just glue them straight to the costume, because I didn't want to interfere with the Velcro that holds the costume closed so that I can take it off. And I have made the tail, which this is also a resin piece, and I have painted it white. And what I did was I've got a little thumbtack that I have made a hole in there with, and what I did was I took one of these little wall flat thumbtacks and I stuck it into the costume back here. I don't know, there you can kind of see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some super glue and we're going to glue that straight onto there so that hopefully it will stick. I'm going to put a little bit on there, and I want to make sure that the tail is doing the curl up, because that's how it's always shown in the show, is with the tail curling towards, going up towards the head kind of thing. I know that the tail looks kind of short, but really if you go back and watch the one from the original show, it wasn't very long. It was maybe about 2 foot long at the most. probably a little less. So yeah, let me give you a see. That's already feels like that's sticking pretty good, and yeah, I'm feeling good with how this has gone. I did a couple of layers of paint on the spikes on the back. They're basically brown with a little bit of a yellow wash to sort of give them the bone look, of course, to match the horn on the head. So, all right, that is the final step for my Mugato. So I guess at this point, all that's really left is let me do some beauty shots. I will post those, and I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed. If you enjoy my videos and want to see more, please like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon. Also, you can support the show by signing up on Patreon, or head over to Zazzle to pick up prints of my artwork, prints on canvas, t-shirts, and other merch. You can find me on social media. For more information and updates on the channel, all info is below. If you didn't enjoy the video, why are you still here? Do you want a song? Ba, ba, black sheep, have you any wool? Yes, them, 3 bags full. One for the master, who can screw himself. You can listen to somebody else.